As an artist yourself, what do you think of the street art here in Dunedin?
Oh, I think it does a great job. I mean, street art's funny stuff. It's all kind of so lonely. It's so self-contained. It never sort of relates to anything but itself.
Oh, that's interesting.
It just is that thing.
So,
yeah.
like in a gallery, there's a plethora. They're relating art to one another.
Yeah,
like in the street art, that's a one-off somewhere and nothing either side of it.
Well, and also it's very generic. There's a certain thing that street artists all over the world do. You know, like the lizard eating its tail. Not that I've seen a lot of that, but it's like naive art. There's kind of a certain language that persists. It's a funny phenomenon.
You got any thoughts? I mean, it's old news now around the old Ed Sheeran debate we had here in Dunedin. $8,000 or something the council forked out for an image of him.
Well, he did a good job,
and he certainly brought a crap load of money into the economy when he came here.
He did a good job. No, it's totally worth the money. Hell's bells. Otis and I have just done a mural up in Auckland for the Dominion Road Businessmen's Association. You know, and they're trying to give Dominion Road a personality, and they're developing a street mural program to go all the way up using local talent. All right. And hopefully find a Cambodian artist, and
right.
And Otis and I kicked it off.
Was a side of it? Do you put it on your Facebook page? A side of a dairy?
Yeah. With a couple of magpies in the middle of it. That one, yeah, that was fun. But they're paying for that.
Our genius will look it up and find the picture somewhere.
And that was fun working with Otis.
Yeah, well, he's your boy, and I was going to say, I remember in the 90s the MCOJ Rhythm Slave.
Oh yeah. So
creativity obviously runs in the genes.
Yeah, they were big, weren't they? Oh, that's mine, the Christchurch T-shirt. Yeah, Otis has always been very clever with the graphics and that hip hop thing, man. That was just something. Those two white boys doing all that. Sort of white boy rap, about the Doc Martens instead of their sneakers and all that stuff.
And a song about positivity.
Yeah. They had about 6 charting singles.
Yeah.
In their time. Yeah.
But he's obviously. It seems like, you're a bit the same in that it's not when you're a creative person. At one end of the spectrum, you're creative everywhere. I mean, you're talking about writing. Different styles of art. I mean, obviously Otis does his art, and he's got music, and it seems to be. Oh, there you go. Is that your one down the bottom here?
Yeah, it is too. There we go.
Open that one up, Sunshine.
Yeah, that's us. There it is. That's the one. That's the best one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the magpies they live down there in a park just opposite where we were painting the mural.
But is that what happens? The creative stuff comes out in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, totally. I mean, creativity. To me, is just it is about how you live your life, really, and I don't think it's very complicated. It's not. I've written about that in this book too. You can't just go out and buy a pair of rainbow stockings and call yourself creative. We were taking high art and jamming this low art into it because you have to. This is the thing about street artists that they kind of that they miss because they haven't studied art. Basically, is that it's an ongoing conversation. The same way that punk rock was disruptive, but all it was doing Chuck Berry was spitting at the same time. You know what I mean? It was just you do know what I mean.
Yeah. So what you're saying is what they're missing is it's the best street art is doing dirty Picasso. If they were smart enough, but it's kind of they go off onto this other little thing they've got, which is an international language. So it actually it sounds like you're saying you're not a huge fan of the street art scene. That there's something missing there for you.
Yeah, there is something missing there. I was looking when I was walking up here. I was looking at that one with that kid with a sieve on his head on that mechanical horse. Funnily enough, you should mention it, because I was waiting at the lights, looking at it, and thinking, why does that just totally not impress me,
Bring up the tab because I know the one you mean. You bring up the tab and we'll bring it up so everyone can see the one you're talking about.
I don't want to be mean to the young man who did it.
No, that's fine because it's people. I mean, the other thing about street art is it's the ultimate. I'm putting it out there so you can critique it because it's like it's out there everywhere.
You can't argue with that.
Up, bro? You're talking about the
one. There it is. That one there.
There you go.
And I was thinking,
So tell me, critique away.
Well, I mean, it's just, what does it mean? It's so hermetic. It doesn't sort of point to anything that I hold dear. It's just, why is the hat the same material as the neck on the horse, and why is his body turning into feathers or something? And all I'm getting out of it is sheer frustration, basically.
So isn't
people love it. I mean, that's great. Good on them. Don't get me wrong.
But isn't that what you're kind of saying, that if a piece of art you can't tell the reason for it, then it loses something? Like, it sounds like what you're saying is you don't get that piece of art.
Well, I get it all right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to really get.
Right.
It is what it is, and the street artists, the community of street artists that do it, and the people that look at it, and it's kind of, it's fun. A horrible word, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's useless to me.
Right.
I can't rip that off. There's nothing in there I can exploit.
Yeah, you also fill up walls with your art.
Totally, yeah.
So what's the difference between when you approach a wall
Well,
with yourself
I
with
try and
artists? What's behind it?
I try and it's Otis and I try and factor it into the community where it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always a story.
Yeah.
And I see some murals that, in these towns that talk about the miners, and they paint them up, and I think, well, that's got a local narrative, that's generous. And that one that Otis and I did of the Dominion Road, we walked up and down Dominion Road with our cameras, photographing logos on street frontages and a picture of a lobster off a Chinese restaurant, and you know what I mean. And then went home and factored it all into the design, so it's embedded in the community. You know what I mean? I do. It's like a lot of public sculpture.
Yep.
Is the same. I mean, the sculptor gets this bit in the city to decorate, and because they get asked to do anything so seldom, they go nuts, and you end up with this big pile of stuff that, and people walk around it. It's like it would have been better off planting a tree. Quite on it.
What do you think at the end of the Northwestern Motorway in Auckland, a specific piece of art? There's that. It's a Pahutakawa tree, but it's it was
the blossom.
My understanding was it was a bit of they just turned up and installed it, and it lived there for a while until the council went, oh well, we might as well put it on a plinth if it's going to be there.
I think it might have been commissioned, but it was the Auckland. I think some architects or engineers designed it or something. They certainly didn't ask an artist.
That's the one there, yeah.
That is bizarre.
It is bizarre. I only asked that because because of my understanding of the story was it was kind of almost renegade rogue art. It looks like now that I look at it, having not seen it for a few years, it looks like it's on water tanks.
Yeah, it probably is actually. No, that's just a giant bit of kitsch. It's all right.
So also it makes me think the amount of controversy there was. We've already talked about the Ed Sheeran street art here. That actually does have there's a specific reason and a story behind why it's there. Yeah. Because I'm sure you know, but the whole city shut down when he came here.
We read about it.
They changed the name of the airport. It was DUN, and then in blue letters ED, and then in white letters I. And it was Ed was in the middle of the thing. So, but that actually means if people look at that portrait,
that's great.
Yeah, I think it was great too. Yeah. They shut down the Octagon. They turned it into it. Yeah. So it's like. There was a reason for it, so that maybe resonates more to you as a. Oh,
absolutely! I mean, that's a creative idea. That's brilliant. I mean, that the ED on the thing. I love little signs like that. It's like little signs of intelligence like that give me hope.
Yeah.
For mankind.
Yeah, I know. I was really sometimes people complain about their councils, but whoever did that weekend, kudos.
Yeah,
give credit where credit's due.
100%. You know what I mean?